Welcome back. Now, it's been described as one of the biggest oil scams in the world. The deal, which started in 1998, was said to be the greatest exploitation of Nigeria's economy by some Nigerians in collaboration, of course, with their foreign allies. 3 former Nigerian presidents have been mentioned in the deal, so also a former Minister of Petroleum, a former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and 2 oil multinationals. That's the story of the $1.3 billion MALABU oil scam. Like Nigerian dictator Sani Abacha actually awarded OPL 245 to MALABU Oil and Gas in 1998 without due process. By the way, the oil block is by far the biggest in Africa. Now, it later emerged that the then oil minister Dan Etete had a significant stake in MALABU Oil and Gas. Anyway, to cut a very long and winding story short, in 2011, the government of President Goodluck Jonathan brokered a deal between MALABU and Shell, which resulted in Shell paying $1.3 billion for the oil well. Now, Shell actually paid the money to the Nigerian government, but the bulk of it ended up with Dan Etete of MALABU, a convicted money launderer, of course. Now, as we all know, it's since emerged that Dan Etete actually owned a substantial stake now in MALABU. Now, the crux of the matter is that Dan Etete allegedly paid out part of the money as bribes to officials of the Nigerian government. It's also been alleged that former President Goodluck Jonathan at the time also benefited from the bribe money. Of course, he has since denied it, just as Jonathan's Attorney General and Minister of Justice Mohammed Adoke has also denied collecting part of the bribe money. Other than the MALABU oil scam now, another major story trending at the moment is the latest cash discovery the EFCC made in an apartment in Lagos. Now, acting on a tip-off from a whistleblower, officials of the EFCC busted an apartment in the highbrow Ikoyi area of Lagos, where they found huge sums of money in different currencies. In total, the EFCC found 23 million naira, $43 million, and 27,000 pounds stacked in safes in a room in the apartment in Lagos. No one has yet claimed the money. And of course, a judge has ordered the temporary forfeiture of the money to the federal government of Nigeria, fixing May as the date for the hearing of a case of anyone who may come forward to own up to the money. Joining me to discuss all of these issues is great Imo Jonathan, who is a public affairs analyst and of course a PR consultant, as well as Olaraju Ajanaku, who is a lawyer. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. First, let's start with this MALABU oil deal. Something dating back, something dating back now to sometimes in the 90s. And, the MALABU oil deal has always come up. You look at the number of governments we've had between 1999 to this period, it's always come up. But at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. You think this would be different?
Well, to the extent that it's generating public attention at the moment, I think we're about to see the end of it. But I'm concerned the way the case is going. If Nigerian government had gotten a judgment in its favor, asking that those who have held this oil to forfeit it to the federal government, and the judge has to reverse itself, I'm afraid that yes, we may end it, but on what end does it end? So there is need for the prosecutors and those who are fighting from behalf of the government to do a thorough job. We are beginning to notice a trend where a lot of government cases, where government is losing a lot of cases in court today. And not in this era do we need such. We need to be firm, we need to be thorough. How can the government, with all its apparatus and all the agencies of instruments at its disposal, that is supposed to have this information, that is supposed to have a prosecute his own case, not be able to come up, marshal enough point to win his own cases? Especially cases that where you are dealing with just one individual. Now we are dealing with an internationally established and recognized business entity that can be akin to an economic terrorist organization, Shell, that is ready to spend money, that have taken down a lot of your leaders, that have compromised a lot of leaders, You are not going to see them. They are not going to lie low. If they have been able to drag on this for over 20 years, to hold on to an oil well that produces over 2,000 barrels or 200,000 barrels of oil per day, you know they are not ready to let go. So you have to be serious. You have to be sure that the characters that you are sending to represent the federal government in this case are serious-minded individuals. Because I'm beginning to be afraid that some of these prosecutors and lawyers are hand in cap with some of the enemies of Nigeria. Because you can imagine that today government confiscate money, the other day court says for fees, the next day they are discharged and acquitted with these billions going away. So are we joking here?
In the whole of this thing, the only reason why Shell is being indicted and why these courts, these cases are coming up in these various courts is just because of one man, N13, that Shell dealt with a convicted money launderer, that Shell had actually known that this guy, had been convicted for money laundering and yet went ahead to deal with him. Even though Shell did not give the money directly to him, Shell paid to the government, but that Shell knew that the money was going to end up in the hands of N13. So you just can't, other than that, you can't blame Shell for any other thing. I mean, because President Goodluck Jonathan's government came and approved the deal and for the oil well to be sold for $1.3 billion. We just cannot blame Shell for that.
One thing for sure that we need to look at is this. Ignorance is no excuse. Whether they knew right from the beginning that the money was going to end somewhere and they went all ahead, went the whole hog to do what they did, knowing from the beginning, I've been assured that it was illegal. I want to tell you something, that in the agreement that Shell signed with the government, I say authoritatively that in that agreement, there is a portion, there must be a portion where a portion for reversal of interest in the oil block. Certain conditions, if not met, could cause a reversal of that. Well, my brother here said something that is unfortunate that the way we're not prosecuting this matter the way we ought to do. He also mentioned, and I agree with him, that this is an internationally recognized company, family rooted here and abroad, who will prosecute whatever matter they have with all they have. Imagine, we are saying 200,000 barrels per day being gotten from that place, and it has a reserve of about 9 billion barrels. We are saying, if 150 now liters is a barrel, at the end of the day, per day, times 200,000, it will give about 38,800,000 liters per day. Multiply that by 145 naira will give you about 4,611,000,000 naira. Do you understand? So of that, if 1 billion naira will be used to prosecute, we are only talking about the crude oil. We're not talking about the derivatives. We're not talking about maybe kerosene that will be gotten from it. We're not talking about aviation fuel and all that. Just the crude alone. Now, if something comes at stake that will jeopardize their interest, Shell, out of about 4.6 billion, is ready to spend 1 billion naira on a daily basis. We must get people who have integrity to prosecute on behalf of the federal government. Because, as it were, 1 billion naira is a lot of money. We're talking about getting 1 billion naira on a daily basis, about maybe 30 or 31 billion naira monthly. If 5 billion naira is deployed by Shell to prosecute this matter, who will not dance where money is? We need to be proactive now and attack this matter frontally. We'll get there.
But really, as I said, I mean, can we blame Shell in this case? The government opened its eyes and actually signed that deal anyway.
Wait, now that, no, you see, because certain people were gullible. We're gullible.
Yes,
but the time
because, I mean, the government
no, we
signed
can,
it.
but like I said,
that
I'm sure.
every person of conscience knows that you can't pay 1.3 billion for an oil well that is worth over 500, or worth about 500
Well, this
billion.
money was paid a long time ago.
Oh, it doesn't really matter.
In 2011 or so. Yeah, paid in. Even in 2011, that's
the reality of the matter is that
really,
even the way and manner they have gone about it and the characters involved, like the ones you have mentioned, characters who were involved in oil, money laundering and the rest, for you to have gotten involved in dealing with such a person tells you that the mindset of those who are coming to acquire the oil, they were not ready to deal with you as on a sanctified ground.
Because the irony of this whole thing is that, let's face it, from what we're gathering now, $1.3 billion paid. But fact is that what actually came to the government was just around I think around 1.2 billion. That's around $200 million. The others actually went
into private pockets.
Went into private pockets. About 1.1 went into private pockets.
Eventually, you haven't paid.
So eventually, what Nigeria effectively sold that oil well for would be around that $200 million.
Yes. So that is to say there is a lacuna or a loophole from which even the federal government can prosecute this case from that angle. If we sold it actually at that time for 1.3 billion, you never paid us. And if we are going to enter into a business transaction, there's supposed to be a period of time within which you're supposed to have paid. So if you eventually $200 million end up in government coffers and you have given the rest to your cronies, you haven't paid Nigeria. So by now, you have also defaulted in that business deal. I think we need to think about this from all angles. It is a matter of national interest, and as it stands today, everybody who loves Nigeria and who wants to defend our interests must come up with strategic ideas. Because how can you imagine some individual has taken $400 million and the rest taking whatever, and Nigeria ending up with $200 million? And you can even imagine that
you also cannot blame anybody because
did you know the fact?
What we understand is that's a signature bonus the government got, and that the oil well actually belonged. That a court had actually ruled that oil well actually belonged to MALABU.
Oh well.
Even though there was some shady dealings in the transaction.
No, you see, for overriding public interest, because there are situations where government can come into place and take positions, even take up companies, take up even land and all that. So this is one of the reasons.
Should the oil well just revert back to government control?
That's what I'm saying. That even, you see, the government can even go to courts to take over this company. Now that it has been discovered that what played out in the beginning was just pure underground dealing that didn't do well for the government, for the people of Nigeria. For the overriding public interest, the government can go on and take over go to court and take over for the benefit of Nigerians. The government can do that. I'm only wondering what we are waiting for up till this very moment. Why we have not...
The government has actually instituted a case in court. As I said, a judge actually gave an interim for future order, which was
at the same time has not been reversed.
Exactly.
But I want to believe in whatever agreement that they have, there will be a reversal portion, a reversal paragraph clause in that agreement. There is no way something like this of this nature will come up that there won't be a reversal clause. There must be. So let them go back and study this agreement very well. Very well. But we too also are not doing well. Because even apart from this, look at Shell is about the only company that is actually making us get crude oil from this country. Why? Remember, we had a JV with Shell and two others, but we were not able to prosecute that because we failed even in our own cash call, that the government ought to do. 60%.
Just like
it's another ball game.
What I even suggest going forward is that if a government can walk up to a population of 4 people in a village and say, I want to take over your land, and that the law permits me to take over your land for public interest. I want to build a university, I want to build roads. And you can do that under this law, and this oil way is located within Nigeria. There are still avenues within the law from which these things can be done. For purpose of national interest, anything can be done. When it came to the interest of Russia in Crimea, it was HANAS. And there was nothing anybody can do about it. It is only a country of very naive people that will be playing games with the interests of the generality of the people. In a democracy, anywhere in the world, I challenge anybody to say, the fundamental for decision making is what is the greatest good for the greatest number of people. One man owns one MALABU, and because of that, 180 million people should go and die. It should not be so. The interest of the generality of the public should be paramount. Yes. And what is our interest here? We cannot lose a $500 billion to one shady deal that where some people shared 1.something billion where Nigeria got 200 million. It should not be. It should not be.
Okay, let's talk about the discoveries by the EFCC. Let's leave this issue of MALABU aside and wait and see how everything unfolds in court. Let's talk about the discoveries by the EFCC recently in that building in Ikoyi. You know, $50 million. That's quite a lot of money. I just want to quickly get your take on it. Fine. A court has actually issued an interim forfeiture order, and so the money, and we understand, has actually been transferred to the Central Bank of Nigeria. So it's sitting down there. Nobody has claimed it. Everybody seems to be saying, I don't own this money. Going forward, what do you think? Because it's also fine. I mean, the EFCC has this money. Fine, this money is sitting somewhere in the vault in the central bank, but we still need to know who owns the money.
Well, that one will only come to the fore if anybody comes up to say, I own that money. But I doubt. No, there was one like that.
You doubt?
There was one like that. My brother, there was one like that.
The one, the Kaduna Airport.
No. Yes.
The one at Kaduna Airport.
Not Kaduna Airport. There was one in Lagos. There was one in Lagos where this man who now eventually came up to say the money was his. But he was, not able to prove how he came about the money, and Justice Hassan forfeited the money to the government. The same Justice Hassan is handling this matter.
You're right. I remember.
I remember that one.
Exactly,
but now he said, if you know that you own the money, you have any reason to claim this money, come forward. Matter adjourned to May 5, 2017. Come and show proof that you actually own that money. But for now, everybody has gone under. Nobody is saying, well, this money belongs to me. Even the people who were living in that flat have disappeared.
But for me, I think
there's just no way we need to know.
We want to know.
Look at this kind of money. We need to know.
Do you know that as much as we need to know, I'm beginning to feel that it's even better we don't know, so that we can quickly take the money, because the events of the past weeks is becoming a bad narrative, where those we know the owners of the money, we can't even, though we know the owners of the money, but we can't retrieve it. Even the ones that have been forfeited in the past, the court have already defreezed them to the and returned them to the owner.
No,
so, I mean,
they are different.
Hello, sir.
They are different.
That is what I'm saying. In cases where we knew the owner of the money, we can't get them. In cases where we don't know the owner of the money, we owe them. What is important for us is the money. If you can see,
it's important we know the owner of this money, because I mean this person might be keeping something somewhere anyway.
Yes, let's continue finding the monies and taking them. That is what is important for now.
Whoever has
but let me say this.
Tell me how you felt when you saw this.
My brother, I'm still feeling sick about it. Very sick. Let me say this. I couldn't imagine how one individual could have amassed so much money that he could keep 17 billion in one space in a flat. Not minding how much more he has in other places, the amount of properties he has home and abroad, the kind of things he has expended before now, that he could summon the courage to keep a 17 billion somewhere, an amount that can make a local government into a major city in Nigeria. For someone to have done it, shows you that our leaders are not only heartless, they have become demonic, and they have become reckless. They are irresponsible.
We don't even know if whoever owns this money is a leader.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why I mention leadership in this. Like I always say, leadership, society rise and fall on the altar of leadership. And this also is a call to Mr. President Buhari, to rise quickly within the remaining 2 years to do everything to close the loopholes. Employ the use of technology like we have implemented the TSA and the BVN. We need a lot more technology to close all the loopholes, because number one, if we had responsible leaders, somebody couldn't have stolen such an amount. We had even a situation whereby some people would go to oil wells, suck oil into ships and go and sell abroad. Right now, what do we need to do? If there were responsible leadership, we would have known all these things. You can't take this is what they call burning like crude to go and sell abroad just anyhow. Because
that's connivance. That's why they are able to sell and they collect cash.
From Navy leadership from the NMPC, leadership, they are all
for
leaders in their
MPA,
own right.
all of them.
What did they do about all this? So it is a collective failure of leadership. Our leadership has become diabolic. They have become demonic, that to the extent that they are now working against the interests of the nation that they are supposed to protect. They have become so irresponsible that it is all about them to the detriment of the rest people. And I want to use this opportunity to call on Mr. President to do something within these remaining 2 years to make sure that this does not repeat itself in our history. That those loopholes must be closed. For example, by now, we should have given opportunity to forensic auditors home and abroad. Come and audit an NPC with your own resources. If you find anything, any money is recovered, you get 10%, you get 5%. Home and abroad. Audit on Nigerian company if you don't have resources to deploy, or if you are afraid that even these ones who are in government can connive with these people to continue to cover up the space. Bring independent auditors to come and audit all these accounts, get forensic audit to do all of this. You will know where the oils went to and wherever, and will recover. Instead of losing 100%, if you get 70%, at least you go a long way.
Mr. Janako, tell me how you felt when you saw, you know, the pictures that we've just been rolling. I mean, that video of that money.
I felt sick. I was stunned to see
more than stunned.
I mean, because I said, what? How could this be in one flat in a tower in Lagos? We're in trouble. But we need to get out of these troubled waters that we are in already. We are talking about leadership. It has to also start with us. Are we ready to have a change of attitude? Are we ready to have a change from the way and manner we do things? Look at that. You see, he was talking just about the leadership. Look, at MPA, Nigerian Ports Authority, by the people who go to inspect vessels. Remember, Sanusi Lamido, the Emir of Kano now, said that time that, look, these people come, they bring empty ship, they say they have brought in ship, they want to collect subsidy. At the end of the day, no fuel was ever brought in the first place. That £1 billion, they are talking about people who are collecting 5-6 billion naira, that £1 billion is enough to bribe all these people, and they keep quiet. We need to begin to change our attitude towards something that is that is for all of us. If you have a change of attitude, you will not allow a ship go away with our crude without being necessarily approved, without the person necessarily having a permit to take the crude out of this country. They take them out, they pay them cash. These are the places where this money are gotten from. These people come, they come with a lot of cash.
It's like oil money.
Oil money, I say. This is oil money. Look at that. This is oil money. Where will you get this much from, if not oil? Which other business will you do that people will come on with cash, if not from the sea? They come with cash, pay you for the crude that you have allowed them to lift on our shores, and they go away with it. Imagine. That's what we are saying, that there must be change. Let that change start with us. Whoever is caught in having anything to do with dubious siphoning of our crude away from this country should be seriously dealt with, which would serve as a deterrent to others. But we are not prosecuting that seriously. There's no seriousness on our part.
Let me correct an impression. When I talk about leadership, I think I actually understand what I'm talking about. It does not exonerate us from having a responsibility towards our society. For example, do you know there are bills in the National Assembly that are supposed to expedite trials on corruption and make offenders punishment more severe? But right now, it is the leadership of the National Assembly, those who are selected as leaders, that are dancing around the table and covering this. We are talking about leadership of the National Assembly in the last 17 years. The National Assembly budget has never been published before. No transparency, no accountability. So how do you expect the man who is at the lower cadre to begin to follow? Leaders are pathfinders. It is where they are going that everybody is going. It is these fellows who have already a man's words have done so much that giving these people, these other lower cadre people, the temerity to begin to get involved.
I agree with you.
I mean that.
I agree with
for
you.
For example, there was an article I wrote which I said 7-point agenda for fighting corruption. That was May last year, even when I suggested about this whistleblowing thing and also suggested compensation for them and also said that there are other things, social enlightenment program or reorientation program. But one of the things I noted in that thing was that the world over, people are likely to get involved in corruption. Two things are that if you don't make the punishment for getting involved very severe, number one, they will get involved. And number two, in the world we live in now, technology is used to distance people, those who work in government with the civil society, because much of contact with ordinary people goes. So why don't we employ technology? What does it cost us to have surveillance cameras, drones, monitoring our waterways and high seas and borders? You understand me? It's cheaper to do than to lose these billions. Then it is leadership that will take the decision. We can deploy it at the executive level and get this into a minority. So you get people, a number of people to monitor it. That is leadership. Then we also talked about international collaboration in fighting corruption. International collaboration, both from private entities, like I talked about, international forensic auditors who can help you do 16-20 years audit of NMPC and tell you where oils that come from Nigeria have gone or not, and they get benefit from it, and also sign MOUs international and other countries.
How long will it take them to do that? If it has, it doesn't
take forever
for them to.
Correct.
I agree with that.
We need to start. We have to end the discussion here, gentlemen. I want to thank you very much for coming on the program. I'm still very much interested in knowing who actually owns that. Honestly, I still want to know. Yeah, I mean,
if the person has the courage to come,
I'm happy that the money is in, but I still think we should know who owns
the kind of individual who had the mind.
Yeah, we just
want to undermine
we just need to know who owns
this
money. Let's just hear their story,
Let's hope that it's Dangote.
If it's a gift,
like Yakubu,
who has a legitimate business,
like Andrew Yakubu,
a man who has no legitimate business to own such an amount of money.
Honestly,
he can't come out to claim it.
I'm just waiting. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Well, that's it on the program. If you want to watch it again, you can actually do so by going to our website, tv360nigeria.com. You'll see this program and lots more there. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. The address is youtube.com/TV360Nigeria. Now, do subscribe to get more videos and updates, and you can join us on Google+. It's at TV360Nigeria. Or simply like us on Facebook. The address is facebook.com/TV360online. We're also on Twitter. Our handle is at TV360online. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week. And let's just hope before then we would know the source of this money. It's scary, but let's just wait and see what happens.